November 2021. A group chat called Crypto Gang has 14 members, friends from college mostly, a few co-workers, one cousin who got added because he wouldn't stop talking about Ethereum at Thanksgiving. At its peak, that group chat contains 17 different coins being tracked simultaneously, 43 unsolicited price predictions in a single weekend, 2 people who have taken out personal loans to buy more, 1 person who remortgaged a secondary asset, and a collective unspoken belief, felt by everyone, admitted by almost nobody, that this time is genuinely different, that the old rules don't apply, and that a year from now, every person in that chat will be looking back at November 2021 as the month everything changed. 14 people, 14 different amounts invested, 14 different stories about how they found out about crypto, why they got in, what they told themselves about risk, and what they were planning to do with the money once it arrived. 2 years later, 11 of the 14 have lost money, 3 have made money, and of those 3, only 1 made money because of something he actually understood. The other 2 got lucky on timing they've since convinced themselves was skill. This is the story of why those numbers are almost exactly the same in every group chat, every bull run, every market cycle, and why the reasons have almost nothing to do with the coins and almost everything to do with the humans holding them. Before we go further, here's something that most crypto content will never tell you, because it's not what the algorithm rewards, and it's not what anyone wants to hear in the middle of a bull run. The pattern of crypto investing has been almost identical in every major cycle since Bitcoin became publicly tradable. Prices rise slowly, then quickly, then explosively. New people flood in at the top, convinced they're early. Prices collapse. Most people sell at a loss, swear off crypto forever, and miss the next cycle entirely. A small number of people hold through the collapse, accumulate during the silence, and profit in the next cycle. Then the entire thing repeats. This pattern isn't hidden. It's been documented since 2013. Every version of it has been analysed, written about, and explained in detail by people who lived through the previous cycle. And yet, every single cycle, the same thing happens. Because the pattern isn't driven by information. It's driven by human psychology. And human psychology, it turns out, is not fixed by knowing what it tends to do. It's fixed only by building systems specifically designed to work around it. Jordan is 28 years old, works in IT support for an insurance company in Phoenix, earns $62,000 a year, which covers his expenses with enough left over that he's been meaning to start investing properly for about 3 years without actually doing it. He hears about Bitcoin for the first time from a co-worker in early 2020. He looks it up, thinks it sounds speculative, and moves on. 3 months later, the co-worker mentions it again. The price has gone up significantly. Jordan looks it up again, reads an article about blockchain technology that he doesn't fully understand, and decides to put $500 in. Not because he understands it, but because the co-worker seems genuinely excited and the price going up feels like evidence of something real. That $500 does something unexpected. It triples in value over the following 8 months. Jordan has now made $1,000 on an investment he didn't fully understand in a market he hasn't studied, through a process he cannot clearly explain. And instead of this making him cautious, instead of his brain registering, "I got lucky," his brain registers something completely different. It registers, "I was right." That single moment, the moment a lucky outcome becomes, in the mind of the person who experienced it, a validation of their judgment, is where almost every crypto loss story actually begins. There's a well-documented psychological phenomenon called the attribution error, and it goes like this. When something good happens to us, we tend to attribute it to our own intelligence, skill, or judgment. When something bad happens, we tend to attribute it to external circumstances, bad luck, or other people's mistakes. Jordan made $1,000 in crypto and attributed it to insight. If he'd lost $500, he would have attributed it to market volatility. This isn't unique to Jordan. It's how almost every human brain processes financial outcomes, and it's the foundation of the most expensive mistake most crypto investors ever make. Because the attribution error doesn't just change how Jordan feels about what happened, it changes how much risk he's willing to take next time. By December 2020, Jordan has moved $4,000 into crypto, his entire emergency fund. Not because the fundamentals changed, not because he did serious research, but because a $1,000 return on $500 felt like proof that he understood something other people were missing. And a person who believes they understand something other people are missing is a person who is ready to bet significantly more than they should. This is the exact moment, not the market peak, not the crash, but this specific psychological pivot that determines the outcome for most retail crypto investors. The first win doesn't teach them that the market can go up. It teaches them that they can read the market. Those are completely different lessons, and the second one is almost never true. 1400 to 1900. The bull run. When everything feels inevitable. 2021 arrives and the market does something that feels from inside it like confirmation of everything Jordan has been telling himself. Everything goes up. Bitcoin, Ethereum, coins he's never heard of, coins that were created as jokes, coins backed by nothing except a cartoon dog and a community of people who found each other on Reddit. All of it going up, sometimes by hundreds of % in weeks. The group chat forms around February. Within 6 weeks, it has 14 members, a dedicated channel for price alerts, and a shared document where someone has been tracking the portfolio values of each member in real time. This detail, the shared, visible, real-time portfolio tracker, is more psychologically significant than anything else in this story, because it turns an already emotional experience into a competitive one. Nobody wants to be the person with the smallest number. Nobody wants to admit they sold something that then went up. The social dynamics of the group chat are creating their own pressure, entirely separate from the market itself. Jordan, watching the tracker, notices that 2 members with larger initial investments are showing significantly higher gains. He does the math. He takes out a personal loan of $8,000. Not because his investment thesis changed, because watching other people's numbers go up faster than his felt unbearable in a way he couldn't fully articulate and didn't examine closely enough. He's not alone. 2 others in the group chat make the same decision within the same month. One of them takes money from his home equity line, the other liquidates a retirement account early, pays the penalty, and moves everything into a single altcoin a friend recommended in a voice message. In April 2021, Jordan's combined crypto portfolio is worth $31,000. He started with $4,000 and borrowed $8,000. He is, on paper, significantly ahead. He has told himself he will sell when it hits $50,000. He has not written this down. It is a number he holds loosely in his head next to a vague intention in a market that is moving faster than any intention can keep up with. Here's what the top of a market feels like from inside it. It doesn't feel like a top. It feels like a pause before the next leg up. November 2021. Bitcoin hits its all-time high. The group chat is euphoric. Someone posts a screenshot of their portfolio value every morning. The word inevitable appears in the chat more than once. Someone calculates what each portfolio will be worth when Bitcoin hits $200,000. A number that several mainstream analysts at the time genuinely argued was imminent. Jordan's portfolio at its peak is worth $47,000. He is $3,000 short of the number he told himself he'd sell at, and the market is still going up. And selling feels like leaving money on the table. And the group chat is talking about the next leg. And one person has just shared an article saying this is only the beginning. He doesn't sell. This decision, to hold through a target because the environment makes more feel possible, is statistically the most common decision made at the top of every crypto cycle, by experienced and inexperienced investors alike. It has a name in behavioral economics: the disposition effect. The tendency to hold winning investments longer than rational analysis would suggest because selling feels like closing the possibility of further gains. The market doesn't care about the possibility of further gains. The market, in November 2021, has already made its decision. It just hasn't told anyone yet. The crash doesn't happen overnight. That's the part most people who haven't lived through one don't understand. It happens in stages, each one accompanied by a chorus of voices explaining why this is a temporary correction, why the fundamentals haven't changed, why this is actually a buying opportunity. Each stage feels like the bottom until it isn't. Each partial recovery feels like the beginning of the next bull run until it reverses. By February 2022, Jordan's $47,000 portfolio is worth $28,000. He tells himself this is a correction. He doesn't sell. By May 2022, the month a major algorithmic stablecoin and its associated token collapse in a single week, wiping out tens of billions in value globally. His portfolio is worth $14,000. He's now below his total investment, including the loan. He tells himself he can't sell at a loss. He doesn't sell. By November 2022, the exchange handling a significant portion of global crypto trading collapses amid allegations of mismanagement so catastrophic it will result in criminal charges. The market loses another 30% in days. Jordan's portfolio is worth $7,400. He still doesn't sell, not from conviction, from paralysis, from the specific, excruciating experience of watching a loss so large it no longer feels real, where selling would turn a number on a screen into a definitive, undeniable financial fact that he is not yet ready to face. This is called loss aversion, and it's the second major psychological force after the attribution error that drives most crypto losses. People hold losing investments far longer than winning ones, not because of rational analysis, but because the pain of realizing a loss is, for most human brains, significantly more intense than the pleasure of realizing an equivalent gain. Jordan's loan repayments are still running. He still owes $8,000 on money that is now worth less than $2,000 in the market. Remember the group chat. 14 people, 11 lost money, 3 made money. The first person who made money sold everything in September 2021, 2 months before the peak, because she had a personal rule, established before she ever bought a single coin, that she would sell 50% of any position that doubled. She didn't sell because she read the market correctly. She sold because a rule she made in a calm moment overrode the emotional environment of the bull run. She didn't feel like a genius when she sold. She felt like she was probably leaving money on the table. She wasn't. The second person who made money got lucky. He needed cash for a home purchase in October 2021 and sold his entire position for practical reasons completely unrelated to market analysis. He has since told the story as though he saw it coming. He did not. He needed a down payment. This is the version of crypto success that looks, from the outside, like skill and is almost always timing plus necessity. The third person, the only one whose profit came from something that could be called a strategy. He entered the market in 2019 before the group chat existed, through small, regular purchases regardless of price. A method called dollar cost averaging that removes the question of when to buy by making the answer simply always a little on a schedule. He never put in more than he could afford to lose entirely. He never borrowed. He never checked the price more than once a week. He sold a portion at a rule-based target, held the rest, and came out ahead because he'd built a system that worked around his psychology rather than trusting it. The difference between the three isn't intelligence. It isn't research. It isn't even luck entirely. It's the presence or absence of a rule made in a calm moment, before the emotional environment of a bull run could override it, that executes automatically when the moment arrives. Here's something worth saying directly. Most content about crypto, the YouTube channels, the Twitter accounts, the Telegram groups, the Reddit communities, is not designed to help you make better financial decisions. It's designed to keep you engaged, which are two completely different objectives. Engaged means checking the price constantly. Engaged means watching videos about what the chart is doing today. Engaged means being part of a community that's emotionally invested in a specific outcome and interprets all evidence in its favor. Engaged means staying on the platform. Better financial decisions means checking the price infrequently. It means having a plan made in a quiet moment and following it regardless of what the community is saying. It means interpreting evidence honestly, including evidence that contradicts the position you already hold. It means sometimes doing nothing for months at a time, which is the opposite of engaging. The crypto content ecosystem makes billions of dollars from people who are engaged. It has no financial incentive to make those people better investors. In fact, better investors, people who make a plan, execute it infrequently and stop watching, are the worst possible customers for an industry that runs on attention. Jordan watched crypto content for an average of 2 hours a day at the peak of the bull run. Every video confirmed his thesis because he watched the channels that confirmed it and unconsciously avoided the ones that didn't. He received 2 hours of daily emotional reinforcement that he was right, that the market was going up, that selling would be a mistake. He was not right. The market was not going up. Selling would not have been a mistake. The third person in the group chat, the one whose profit came from a real strategy, is genuinely boring to watch. His crypto content consumption is close to zero. His position reviews happen once a month, not once an hour. He has rules that he follows without exception, and those rules feel, in a bull run, like a constraint rather than a protection. His approach can be summarized in 4 principles that are so straightforward, they sound like they couldn't possibly be the answer. Only invest money you could afford to lose entirely without it affecting your life. Not money you'd prefer not to lose. Money whose complete disappearance would not change how you live, what you owe, or what you can do. If the amount you're considering would hurt to lose, it's too much. Use a regular, scheduled investment method that removes the question of timing. Trying to buy at the right time consistently is something that professional fund managers with full-time research teams consistently fail to do. Doing it casually, based on chart patterns you've been watching for 18 months, is not going to produce different results. Set a rule for when you'll sell, in a calm moment before the bull run starts. And follow it, regardless of what the environment is saying when the moment arrives. The rule doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be followed. A good rule executed consistently beats a perfect strategy abandoned emotionally every single time. Stop consuming content that creates urgency. Urgency is the enemy of good investment decisions. Every piece of content that makes you feel like something is happening right now that you need to act on is working against you, regardless of whether the information is accurate. These 4 principles don't make good YouTube content. They don't generate group chats or price alerts or communities. They produce quiet, boring, infrequent activity that results over time in a significantly better outcome than the alternative. The reason most people don't follow them isn't that they're complicated, it's that they're not exciting. And in a market engineered to reward excitement, choosing boredom is one of the hardest things a person can do. It's November 2023. Jordan's portfolio is worth $6,100. He finished repaying the personal loan 3 months ago, $8,000 borrowed, $8,640 repaid with interest for assets now worth less than a used car. Here's the part that surprises most people. He hasn't sold. Not from strategy, not from conviction, but from something that's harder to admit, because selling would mean the number is real. And as long as he hasn't sold, there's still a version of this story where it comes back. That version is possible. Markets do recover. Some of what he holds may genuinely appreciate in the next cycle. But here's what Jordan knows now, 2 years later, that he didn't know in 2020, whether his specific coins go up or down in the next cycle, the way he invested, the borrowed money, the emotional decisions, the group chat dynamics, the 2 hours of daily content, ANAMs would have produced a bad outcome in almost any market. He didn't lose because he chose the wrong coins. He lost because he chose the wrong relationship with risk, information, and his own psychology. That's the thing about crypto losses that almost nobody says out loud. Most of them aren't really about crypto. They're about the gap between how we think we respond to risk and uncertainty and how we actually do. Crypto is just the environment that makes that gap visible faster and more expensively than almost anything else available to retail investors. The group chat still exists. 14 members, minus 2 who left in 2022, and 1 whose number changed. The price alerts have stopped. The portfolio tracker hasn't been updated in 18 months. Someone posted a meme last week about Bitcoin recovering and got 3 laughing emojis in response. The person who sold in September 2021 is in the chat but rarely posts. She used the profit to pay off her car and put the rest into index funds. She doesn't talk about this because in a group chat that lost money collectively, talking about having come out ahead is a specific kind of social complexity nobody needs. The third person, the dollar cost averager, is still buying quietly on the same schedule he started in 2019. He doesn't post about it. Nobody in the chat knows he never really stopped. Jordan is planning to start buying again when he has some savings rebuilt. He's not sure exactly when. He's been reading more. Not crypto content, actual material about risk management and investment psychology. The kind of reading that doesn't tell you what to buy but explains why your instincts about when to buy and sell are working against you by design. He's not bitter about what happened. He's something more useful than bitter. He understands it now. If this gave you a completely different way of thinking about crypto and why most people lose, subscribe. New stories every week about money, psychology, and the decisions that quietly determine everything.